Hey, good morning everyone, TJ here. So if you clicked on this video, you've probably got a few tricks down, maybe some front ones, some back ones, some butters and stuff like that. And you're trying to work on some switch maneuvers. So today we're out in Cardrona, New Zealand. And in this video, I'm gonna run through the first 5 switch tricks that I'd recommend you try to get more comfortable in your switch stance. Let's get into it. All right, so the first one I want to throw out there is going to be a cab 180 or a switch frontside 180. As you've been spending time riding switch, you've probably naturally just kind of swiveled on the snow from switch back to your regular stance. So you should be comfortable with that movement of opening up your shoulders and going back to regular. For the cab 180, we're gonna do that exact same thing. It should have a very natural feel to it, but we're gonna add 2 things. One, you're gonna actually do a proper carve where you have a clean line behind you rather than a skidded turn, so you have a stable platform to pop off of. And you're gonna add in a pop just before you open your shoulders. And when I say pop, I mean an Ollie, not a 2-footed pop. So you're gonna actually lean into that tail a little bit, load up some tension in there, pop off that back leg as you're opening up the shoulders, and that cab one's gonna come right around. I know you guys are gonna get this one pretty quickly. It's gonna be one that feels very good and very natural. Okay, the next one I'm gonna throw at you guys is gonna be the switch tail press. So this one's gonna unlock a lot of tricks for you for butter flat ground type tricks. We'll get into that in a little bit after we talk about it. And basically, to progress into this one, you can start off just riding switch and leaning into the tail of your snowboard. So you're gonna leave your front foot extended and you're gonna bend your back leg, shifting your weight over your back foot. So remember, always stay stacked. You're gonna keep your weight over your ankle, knees, and hips. So you have a nice balanced body position. And as you do that, depending how far you lean back, that depends how much the board's gonna flex. And you can also kind of modify that by straightening your back leg or bending it more, just to get it to look the way you want and whatever feels comfortable for balancing as well. And that's really the basics of it. I'd say once you get comfortable just kind of riding in that switch pressed out position, that switch tail press, you can add a little bit of style to it by adding a fakie Ollie into it. So Ollieing off the nose and then landing in that switch tail press. But basically, as you're figuring out that switch tail press, what you want to keep in mind is shifting your weight over your back leg, bending your back knee, and keeping your front leg kind of straight so it pulls that nose up and gets you in that pressed out position. Also, one thing to keep in mind as you're doing these flat ground type tricks is if you do start to swivel on the snow, always make sure to keep your weight more on your uphill edge. That way you're not going to catch your edge and have a crash. And the next one I'm going to suggest you work on is just going to be a switch Ollie. This one's actually a little bit more challenging than you might think. And I think the key thing to keep in mind for this is keeping your shoulders parallel with your snowboard so you don't automatically rotate when you do the Ollie. It's going to be very natural to want to just do a cab 180 and go back to your regular stance. But you got to just hold those shoulders, look and switch downhill, and that's going to keep that Ollie straight. Other than that, all the same mechanics of a regular Ollie are going to apply here. So you're going to shift your weight over your back leg, bend your back knee, and then pop off the tail. So you're going to extend your back leg as you pull with your front leg, kind of jump off of your back foot, level the board out, and land both feet at the same time, keeping that front shoulder straight looking downhill so you're not rotating as you do the Ollie. And that's all there is to it, but it is gonna take some practice to get comfortable with it. So spend some time doing those switch Ollies. Okay, so you've got your switch butter, switch tail press, your switch Ollies, your cab ones. Let's get into something that's a little bit more challenging. And this is actually one of my favorites. It feels really, really good, and it's a lot easier than you might think. So let's talk about the cab 360. So basically, once you have that cab 1, the only thing you need to do to get the cab 3 around is just snap a little bit harder off the tail. You can almost slide the tail out a little bit too, but you do want to work towards having a nice clean pop to make sure it looks nice and proper out there. and you're gonna rotate that shoulder a little bit more as well. So for me, my switch stance is goofy, right foot forward. And to get that cab 3 around, again, just snap a little bit harder off that tail and throw your front shoulder a little bit more. You don't have to go all the way 360 with your shoulders, but the more you're able to lean in with that shoulder, the easier it's gonna come around. As you guys try this, I think you'll understand what I'm talking about. It kind of naturally wants to go in that direction when you snap a little bit harder. And you can kind of shifty the last like 90 degrees as well. And you want to catch it on your toes so you don't continue swiveling around on the snow when you land. So to put that all together, for the cab 3, we're going to come in on our switch carve just like the cab 1. We're going to snap a little bit harder off the tail, throw that shoulder a little bit more as well, so you at least do that full 180 with the shoulder, and then just kind of shifty the rest around, landing on the toes to lock it in, and you've got your cab 3. And I know that sounds like a lot, but trust me, when you're out there trying it, it's gonna feel really natural. It's probably the easiest 360 variation, and definitely one that I would recommend putting some time in learning. Okay, and the last one I want to mention in this video is, in my opinion, the most difficult out of these more basic kind of switch tricks, and that's going to be the switch backside 180. So you're snowboarding in your switch stance, you're going to pop off the toes and rotate in the blind direction down the hill, so your back goes downhill first. So this is the opposite of a cab 180, and to get the switch back 1, you're going to do some setup turns coming in on your switch toe side edge. As you're in a solid stance on a clean carve, so you have a good platform to pop off of, just like on the cab 180. You're gonna snap off the tail, doing that switch ollie. As you close your shoulders, so your back faces downhill, you're gonna level your legs out. And the key thing for the switchback 1 is to focus on rotating your head and shoulders for the full 180 and committing to it. It's gonna be a little bit scary, but if you don't commit, you're gonna land with your heel edge going downhill and all kinds of bad things can happen. So that's gonna be the biggest thing to focus on. You can also throw in a little bit of a shifty on this one to get it around, if that's gonna help you out as you're kind of figuring out how to work that pop into it and really get it in the air. And the last thing you want to remember is to land on the toes so you lock it in and you don't continue swiveling. I would say for this trick, and really all these tricks that we've been talking about, it's going to be a little bit easier to do it over a roller. On a mellow, flat ground pitch like we have here at Cadrona, that's going to be a great place to learn it as well. But if you're having trouble getting enough time in the air to bring it all the way around for any of these, try them off a roller, and that might give you that little bit of extra time that you need to get these clean. And that's it for this video. I hope this helps you get out there and progress your switch riding a little bit more and give you some ideas on how to challenge yourself and just get more comfortable on your snowboard. If you have any questions, drop them down in the comments and I'll do my best to get back to you guys. Drop a like if you got some value, subscribe to the channel if you're new here, and if you want to check out any of the gear that I've been running, that's all going to be linked down there below as well. So appreciate all you guys, and we will see you in a new one next time.